It is once again that time of year in Arknights, where Hypergryph sends us a survey for the limited event, a questionnaire on Lone Trail, where they politely ask you, why didn't you empty your entire bank account for these limited characters? They ask you politely, why didn't you empty your wallet for them? Why weren't you willing to spend for them? Is it because they're not meta enough? Is it because they're not overpowered enough? Well, we could change that in the future. We could do some more power creep, surely. It's once again that time of year where we get a questionnaire getting our feedback on the current limited event, and every single time, I have the same feedback. You can consider this part 2 of my Arknights has a growing problem video because we really need to talk about the old limited system. So Scotty Alter, she's one of the most meta characters in this game. She is by far the best bard and also maybe sub-healer that we have in Arknights. She has so much meta potential that she has stayed in the meta for quite a long time after her release. She was initially a limited character that had her own run. Old limited characters will never get a rerun with a full rate up anymore, and usually, older limiteds are relegated for the off rate of these banners. Whenever you pull a 6-star character, you have a 70% chance to pull the new characters, and then the 30% chance to get any other character in the game, any other 6-star. But then we usually have 3 older limited operators that have a ×5 rate boost. The problem is, Scotty will soon join W and Rosmontis, and this is the last event where she'll have this rate up boost. After this event, during the Arturia Virtuosa banner, Spectre and Neural will still be on the weight up, Texas will replace Scotty, and then Scotty will join W and Rosmontis. She'll join both of them in this pool. So after this event, if you ever want to get Scotty Alter, one of the most meta operators in the game, it's not feasible to target them blind pulling. Nope, the only feasible way will be to use a 300 spark just for one character. A 300 spark is about $540. That is as much as a PS5 for one single character. W Rosmontis and soon Scotty, that's the only way you could ever obtain them moving forward in the future. I hope I don't need to explain how bad this current system is, and it'll only get worse. The next character that should predictably leave the weight up pool of the off rates should be Chen, and then we're gonna move on to Neural, and then we're gonna move on to Spectre. We're gonna have more and more limited operators that are going to leave the weight up off rate pool, and then the only feasible way to obtain them in the future is a full 300 spark. It's a bad system. It's my feedback every single time during these surveys. Something's gotta give with these old limited operators, because unlike standard operators where we have recruitment, where we have the rotating core banner, we have the rotating standard banner, they'll come and go as they please, but these older limited operators, they're only available at certain times of the year, and they're only available with 300 spark now apparently. So the problem will only get worse. Something's gotta give. No one bat an eye when Rosmontis and W stopped appearing in their limited banner pulls, but I'm sure somebody's gonna bat an eye that Scotty's no longer that accessible to any new doctor that has picked up the game after Scotty's limited banner. So that's a thing Hypergryph definitely has to address. And on that video, on my older video of Arknights has a growing problem, some people implied that, oh well, you're just entitled. That's why you want these operators. You're entitled. Why don't you just pay for them? First of all, yes, I'm entitled. But second of all, these operators cost up to $540. Gacha gamers, I think, have a very skewed sense of value when it comes to these. I did get a comment on my Lone Trail pull video that someone did try to pull W with blind pulls. They didn't have 300 saved up, they just kept blind pulling for W, and I think they didn't have statistics on their side to ever blind pull W to target her without saving up that full 300 spark. And the shitty system is already rearing its ugly head as of now. So, of course, I'm gonna armchair game dev and say that the easiest solution to this, if Hypergryph wants to have their cake and eat it too, they want to create the problem and then they want to create the solution for that problem, they could do the same thing that they did with older standard operators and make a core banner, but this time it's a limited core banner where we have 2 banners during a limited event that has these older operators as the only rate ups, and then you could pull for the newer limiteds in the current banner. That's one solution. A more pro-consumer solution would be to just half the spark that you need for these older limited operators that no longer have a weight up in the off-rate pool. Change these from 300 to 150. Surely, no one's gonna complain about that, right? No whale is gonna complain about that. Some whale's probably gonna go, I spent $1,000 P6ing my Scotty. Why do these free-to-play peasants get to spark them for 150 3 years after her release? No one should pay attention to anything that a whale says. So anyway, there's that. Arknights still has a growing problem. The limited pool is getting more diluted, plus older limited operators will no longer have weight-ups in the off rate, and the only statistically feasible way to get them is currently the 300 spark, the up to $540 value 300 spark. There's that. Just wanted to talk about that for a bit.